Hi, I'm Jeff DeRiso from Beckman Collaborative, and today I'm going to show you how to update all related contacts when a company is updated in Zoho CRM. We'll achieve this using a custom function written in Zoho's proprietary scripting language called Deluge, and I promise it's not as intimidating as it sounds. Deluge makes it easy to write functions without having an extensive knowledge of programming. This is one of our most often requested CRM customizations because it's a game changer to automate your CRM process. Let me show you how it works. So here I am in Zoho CRM in the Accounts module in our test account. And in a previous video, we went over workflow rules. So let's say we were trying to set a workflow rule so that whenever the current status or the working anniversary was updated in the account, that we would also update the corresponding fields in all related contacts. Now, in order to do this, we obviously have to create corresponding fields in the contacts module that are the correct format. So for example, this field has to be a date field in both the contact and the account. And this field has to be a pick list that has the exact same pick list values. So as long as those values match and the data types match, we can do this. But there is one limitation that we run into when we try to create a workflow rule. So let's just open a new tab and go to Setup, Automation Workflow Rules. We'll just create a rule quickly. We've already covered workflow rules in a previous video, like I said. So we'll just run through this pretty quick. So we want to do whenever certain fields get modified, whenever the current status is modified to any value, or the working anniversary is modified to any value, and we want to execute this for all accounts. So now we have the option to do something called a field update. So let's click that. Now, here we have an option to choose our module. And when we do that, we get two options for contacts. We have the main contact and the accounting contact. So what these are is these lookup fields that I created in the accounts module. But the problem is I have 3 contacts for this account, and I want to be able to update all of them, not just the ones that are referenced in these lookup fields. So for example, I could have 20 or 25 contacts, and it's not really a good solution to go create a bunch of lookup fields because you have a different number of contacts for every company. So the field update option only works when you have to update either the main contact or the accounting contact. But in this case, if we want to update all related contacts, we're going to have to use a custom function instead. So we'll click Cancel, and we'll go to Function, and we'll create a new function. So to create a function in Zoho CRM, we have to write in Zoho's proprietary scripting language, which is called Deluge. And Deluge basically gives you the option to create a process of automated actions that are highly customized based on what your business needs are. So I'll click Write My Own, and I'll show you how it works. Say Test, and we'll click Create. So now we're on our Deluge editor screen to edit our function. The first thing we want to do is add what's called an argument. An argument is basically a value that we pass into our function in order to tell the system which records we want to update. So let's add an argument, and it's going to be account ID. We'll just abbreviate that. And for our param value, we'll hit the number sign on the keyboard, and that will bring up our modules list. We'll select accounts and account ID. This is a system ID that's unique for every account. So this is going to tell the system which account we're talking about and which account to affect with this function. So we'll click Save. So now we can begin writing our first Deluge function here. So the first thing we want to do is get our account record and check the current status and the working anniversary. So the first thing we need to do is create a variable to store this information. So we'll call this variable account info equals zoho.crm. And what these are predefined what are called integration tasks for each Zoho service. And these are just predefined functions that allow you to affect records on the back end. So what we want to do is get record by ID. And the module is accounts. And the number is the number from our argument, the account ID. We want to insert that into this function. And the next thing we want to do is do what's called an info statement. So we type info, and then we type our variable name, account info. So now what that allows us to do is to view the information that's stored in the account info variable. So we'll click save and execute. And now it's asking us for an account ID because that's our argument that we're inserting into the function. So we'll get our account ID here from our account record. We'll copy and paste it. And we'll click save. Now we've gotten this statement here. And this is what's stored. This is the information that's stored in the account info variable. This is the account record. And it's in a JSON format. So we'll copy it and we'll go to a JSON formatter and we'll paste it and click format. So all this is a collection of fields and values, and it's unique to this specific test account record in our CRM. This is just basically what's on the back end for this record. So if I search, I can find current status. Okay, so you can see that. And there's working anniversary. And there's a date here. So this has what we need. Now we'll go back to our function. So now what we need to do is create a variable to pull out the unique values that we need. So let's do a variable called status. And that will be account info dot get, and then we'll type in the field name that was in our statement. And this is case sensitive, so you want to copy and paste exactly from your JSON statement and make sure that you get that API name correct. So we're going to get the current status, and we always put a semicolon at the end of our Deluge statements here. So we're going to now do an info statement for the status. We'll click save and execute again. And we'll copy and paste the account ID once again. Click save. So we get this info statement when we run the function that says active. So that is the value that's stored in our status variable. So now we need to do the same thing for the working anniversary. And we want to get our API name once again directly from our JSON statement, because that is exactly the case sensitive correct field name. So now let's do an info statement for our anniversary. And we'll execute again. So now we see that we've gotten both of those values and stored each one of them in a separate variable. So now the next thing we need to do is get all the related contacts from this account. So to do that, we'll create another variable. And we'll do another Zoho integration task, zoho.crm get related records. First, we type the relation module name, contacts, and the parent module name, accounts, and then again the account ID. Let's do an info statement for that and execute the function once again. So now we've got a longer JSON statement here, and we'll copy and paste that. So what this is, instead of one record, this is now all of our related contacts. So it is a collection of records. It's multiple contacts, and the same fields are going to be repeated 3 times. So let's find our journey field. So you see we have 1, 2, 3 instances of the journey field because we have 3 separate contacts in this statement. So the next thing we need to do in our function is what's called a loop. So we type in for each, and we create a variable called contact in our collection variable, which is related contacts. And then we create open and close brackets here. So what this for each loop means is that for everything inside of this bracket, it's going to be executed for each contact in this list of contacts. So the first thing we want to do is get the contact ID of each contact. So we'll create another variable. Contact ID equals contact.get. So contact was that new variable we created with the loop. And now we want to get ID and semicolon. The next thing we want to do for each contact is update the contact record with the values from the account record. So we need to create an update map to map the values to the field names in the contact module. So first we'll create an empty map. And now we'll use the put function to insert key value pairs into our map. Now, the key is the field name or the API name. So we want to find that journey field. Once again, we want to copy and paste that. And the value that we want to input into the journey field is this current status value that we got from the account record. So we'll type our variable name status and then a semicolon. And we'll do the same thing with the working anniversary. And now let's get that field name from our statement. Work anniversary is what it's called. Work underscore anniversary. Copy and paste that. Now we'll put a comma and we'll put our field value, which is our variable that we got from the account. So we'll type in that variable name and we'll do a semicolon. So we've created our update map, and the last thing we have to do in our loop for each contact is to update the record. So we're going to again use our Zoho integration task. We'll create a variable called contact update CRM dot update record. We'll do the module contacts, the contact ID that we got established in this variable right here. And here we add our map variable, update map. And we put our semicolon. The last thing I want to do is add an info statement so that if there's any errors or something happens that we don't want to, we can view the statement that we get from our update function. So now let's click Save. And we've now created the function and successfully attached it to our workflow rule. So now anytime in the account, the current status or the working anniversary is modified to any value, this function will run, it will get those values and update all the related contacts with those new values for those 2 fields. Now, this will happen whether you have 2 or 3 contacts or whether you have 15 contacts. The function will work for all of the contacts that are in the related lists. So now that we've created our function and attached it to our workflow rule, we can test it to see how it works. Now, the next thing you would do is click Save. Now, I'm not going to do that because I do have this exact same workflow rule already created. So you would click Save at this point, but I'm going to click Cancel. So let's go to our account and let's change the current status to inactive. And we'll change the working anniversary to a different date. And now we'll refresh the page. And we'll go to our contacts in our related list, and we'll see that they've all been updated to inactive. And if we go to each one and refresh the page, we can also see that the working anniversary has changed for all three of them to the new date. So this is the workflow rule that we've already activated in our organization. So like before, we can also go to our workflow rule and click View Usage. You can see that these workflows have been applied successfully 4 times within the past 7 days, and you can get more information about that here. So that's how you update all related contacts with a custom function in Zoho CRM. And the great thing is that this same principle with the Deluge script can be applied to any related list in any module. So any type of updates that you want to do to related records, this function would work for that. And of course, you can always contact Beckman Collaborative for support. Please leave any further questions in the comments and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.